Good evening. My name's Tom Rayholm. I'm chairman of the Public Works Committee, and I'll call the meeting to order in the first floor conference room at City Hall. It's August 6th, 2013, 5:30 p.m. I'd like to go around the room and people introduce themselves. We are being televised and taped in that this evening. So,
Marion Hocamp.
Dave Last was city engineer.
Nick Dooms, design engineer.
Chet Worrell.
Tim Reed.
John McCracken.
Scott Kellogg, author person.
all right, and with that, that I've called the meeting to order. We're going to a little bit change our schedule here to let some people here leave if they want to. They're welcome to stay for the rest of the agenda. So with that, we'll go to item number 4, and that's to review the application for vacation of Robinson Street right-of-way. Dave, do you have the Planning Commission met last night?
Right.
And took action on this. You want to comment on that, Dave? And the map here that we got?
Right, I passed out a map which we had passed out at Planning Commission. The reason for the vacation request is their fence is on the public right-of-way for Robinson Street. And the request would be to vacate. Robinson Street dead ends at the Green Bay and former Green Bay and Western, now Canadian National Railroad. I guess at one time there was a crossing there many years ago. We have the overpass now. So there's no utilities up there. We just have Robinson Park, basically. So if we did a straight vacation, it's usually split down the middle, and that would put our ball, you can see the ball diamond is built into the right-of-way. So we went out there and measured it, and what they would need to keep their fence on their own property would be a partial vacation, similar to what we did for Riverview Hospital. It'd be 15 feet wide by, that's that little green area there, 15 feet wide by 120 feet, 25 feet long. And that would vacating that right-of-way would leave their fence on their property, and then the rest of the right-of-way could be used for, like it is now, for Robinson Park. So that's
And the
where
green area is what is grass now.
Right. And if you can see in there, it's kind of faint on this, but right past their driveway, there's a little bit of asphalt, and then the rest of it turns into grass, and then the corner of the ball field is in that right-of-way.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, so who cuts that grass?
I imagine the city does.
Park.
And Tim, do you have anything to?
I just wanted to say that, initially when we had the property surveyed, we're in the process of trying to get a garage built. It was during the survey that we found out that we had inadvertently built that fence onto the right-of-way. We planted trees along that fence line. We'd very much like to keep the fence on the right side of the trees. They're not real big, and we don't want to see them tore down by people riding by on their bikes or whatever. And certainly, if this doesn't go through, we'll move the fence, but we're asking to be able to keep it.
And what you see on the map was what was passed by the Planning Commission.
Right.
Approved by them last night, and the couple that's requesting action be taken was in agreement with what was done last night, correct? Anybody at the table have any committee members?
I think it'd be a good idea.
I would move to approve it.
We have a motion and a second to approve, the vacation in the green area on a map 125 feet long by 15 feet wide. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, committee will vote on the motion. All those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. And this will go passes, this will go to the council in 2 weeks from tonight. Meeting starts at 6. I can't guarantee what time Public Works would be. Well, I don't know if they'll pull that out for planning before that or not.
Well, what'll happen on a vacation, because of state law, it'll go, it has to go 40 days, so it'll be a couple of councils
Yeah.
before it can come up, so it's probably gonna be the October council.
Okay.
Before they put it, the clerk puts it on the agenda.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, you're welcome to stay, if you want to. The weather is warmed right up today, sunshine. With that, we'll back up to,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay,
Good
take
night.
care.
You too.
item number, which one, 3 do you want to do? Chad's here for that. Let's go to number 3, and that's to review the request for the installation of a street light on 9th Avenue North between Rosecrans Street and Cleveland Avenue. David?
The reason we came to committee, the council had granted the city engineer the authority to approve streetlights at 300-foot intervals or one per block in residential areas. And that's basically all the authority that I was given. In this case, we have a street light at 9th and Cleveland and 9th and Rosecrans. So this is over and above the authority that I was granted. We typically in a residential area will put one per block, and we use the street lights for lighting the street, not for security. Has been the past policy of the council. So this proposed light is 122 feet from an existing light.
Chad?
Yeah, just recently purchased the old Larry's Auto Body Shop on 850 Rosecrans Street, and that is zoned manufacturing industrial. It's next to neighboring the railroad switching yard. The city did, since that is a dead end, the city came down there and cut trees and gravelled in the old dead end for me so I could get truck traffic down in there, turn around. So they complied very nice and made me a nice turnaround down there. We drove out to the industrial park today and we turned off the 17th Avenue onto Jefferson Street heading west. And those lights are 205 feet in between, all along Warehouse of Wisconsin. And if you continue that and follow that around the curve to 21st Avenue North, just before G&K Uniforms, those light poles measure, a few of them measured at 156 feet between poles and 195 feet between poles, lighting the street. So I'm not requesting anything major. There is a pole there. It is the last one with power on that block. That is the face of the building. It's not towards my shop for security. You know, I'm not asking for a security light. It is dark. That street is dark. And I do stuff late in the evening. And if I need to load trucks and get trucks pulled in there, just like Warehouse of Wisconsin or anybody down Industrial Street, Industrial Park, it'd be nice to have some light, have that lit up just a little bit better.
And Dave, do we or don't we have a policy for it in industrial areas?
Well, we
Zone
don't, as
commercial.
far as I know, we don't. It's because the industrial areas that the city has lit, we own the industrial parks. We do light commercial, we automatically light commercial and our industrial parks. Other than that, I don't know of any. The residential policy of one per block is probably the last 20 years that we came up with that policy, because finance and property, or it just used to be finance committee, the streetlight requests used to come into that committee. And then when the council changed, it got delegated to public works, and then a lot of the duties got delegated to the city engineer with speed limit signs and streetlights,
Mhm.
the like.
We had a request not too long ago for a street light. Was that on Second Street? By, across from the bank over there? Remember that, in that parking lot, they wanted,
Oh,
Not by the bay?
we approved an alley light,
yeah,
right,
right,
behind the Eagles Club.
Yeah.
yeah,
that one.
mhm,
That was I think about a year ago
yeah.
we did that one.
Didn't they pay for it?
No, it was installed on our city street and the city paid for it. It was about $400 for that particular light. And the electric charge is being charged to the city.
Well, I thought they wanted another one right there on the corner of that building. For a security light that would shine down that alley.
Well, what was approved was right on the pole and it shines down the alley. It was put on the public right of way.
Okay. I know we were there for
I think there was a different, maybe they wanted a different location.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were willing to try
I
it.
think it was.
I guess they're happy with it. I haven't heard from them since.
So the cost of installation is $400?
That one, this one would be estimated $1,210 from Water and Light. And then there's a recurring charge, I'm not sure what it is, for 150 watt light. I think it's $15 or $16 a month, at least that's the last I'd heard. That's what they charge us for all, there's 2 or 3 rates, but for that wattage of a bulb, Water and Light charges us a rate for electrical, and then they have to maintain it from once it's installed
Mhm.
at their cost.
So you said 1,000 what?
$1,210 is what that's the quote I got from Water and Light to install that 8-foot aluminum arm and 150 watt high pressure sodium light.
Who else would benefit from this? I mean, what other businesses have done
Just me.
it? Just you?
But I do gotta say, I know you're off the security thing a little bit, but I am a major player in this neighborhood watch. Okay, and that the police officers do their nightly runs through 9th Avenue to Cleveland. That's part of their nightly routine, and being it is dark, it would act for 2 functions.
For security.
For them, with the dark road.
Yeah.
And for me, for my nighttime business activities out in the street.
How much of this is zoned commercial, Dave?
I think almost up to 10th Avenue, there's quite a bit of that is zoned.
Even though there's a residential house on it, it's still zoned
Mhm.
for the proper zoning. And that's why I like where it was. It was close to home. It has all the needs that I needed. And it is zoned being right next to the railroad. You couldn't ask for a better neighbor. They make more noise than me, so I. There is only actually 2 homes on that 9th Avenue.
How far was that one, Dave, from a light that, or in back of the Eagles Club, do you know off the top of your head about, or not?
Let's
You
see,
don't
about
remember
2
this?
lots.
I don't.
Well, it's 2 lots, and those are smaller lots. It could be anywhere 150. And then I don't measure it.
Okay. How, I guess, the West Side Industrial Park, how do we make a judgment on the distance between them there?
Well, those are, in theory anyway, they were designed I didn't do them. I'm not sure if who did them, but they're supposed to be on a commercial area. Well, in an industrial area, there's different lighting requirements, and then they're based on the size of the height of the light and how many lumens are on the road, and then how far apart they are. So like when we just did West Grand Avenue, that was designed by a lighting engineer out here. So there's no real bright spots, no dark spots. So they set them so that there's a certain lighting level through the whole road.
So with what would be looked at, light poles in different areas at park could be a different distance
Different
from it.
distance, depending on the strength of the light.
What's on 10th Avenue here, between Rosecrans and
I
Cleveland?
think if I can read the water and light symbols, there's one I think that's gonna be 10th and Cleveland. I think it's a double circle. And then there should be one at 10th and Rosecrans. And then 10th and Dur Beauty. And it looks like 11th has them all the way down at Rosecrans and Dur Beauty.
Mhm.
Seems like they have this one on that corner, if this was over here, he would satisfy his needs and would take care of that corner. You know,
Oh,
The one on Rosecrans and Ninth,
if
to
that
move
was,
it across the block, is
yeah,
that what you're saying? Across the
by the
street.
time you do that and cost of it,
Yeah.
it's not worth
And
it.
those poles have been there. The one that was on the corner of Ninth and Rosecrans, that light has been burned out for almost 2 years, and I finally got it.
Working.
A new bulb, and they're working, and all the,
Yeah.
they couldn't believe it. You know, but what a difference that
Right.
makes.
Yeah.
Especially for a dead end.
We're just brainstorming.
Yeah, I'm not asking to put up a special pole. I mean, the
No.
pole's there, the electrical's
Just to
right
put
there.
it
It's the
on.
last pole that the service goes to. And Cleveland has their own service, so it doesn't like connect to Cleveland. That's the last pole on the block. Because there's the wood line that curves around, and that's what makes it dark. Even if you trim the branches to the one before the curve on Cleveland, you're still not gonna reflect that light between that light and the one that I'm requesting that's on midway in the block.
You said there's a pole there already, but it doesn't have a light on, is that? the
Yeah,
idea?
that's blue, that
It
blue
serves-
circle.
Yeah.
It serves those two
Okay.
residential homes behind the shop.
It's interesting when it costs $1,200, there's a pole
That's what I was
there.
gonna say, yeah, I thought. it was put
You think it'd be
the pole in the
like
middle.
500 or something.
No, it's,
Dave, what's that, is that about, is it 300 feet or there between the lights that are there?
but probably a little bit longer.
Yeah, looks like it
I'm,
would be.
I'm thinking because it's on the south side of Rosecrans, that's a 60-foot right of way. So it's probably, because that's on, the other one's on the other side. So you're probably about 420 between lights.
The last business that,
Between this one and that one?
No, this one and this one.
Oh,
This one's 122
yeah,
feet,
How
that's
much
what I
did you
think,
say,
yeah.
Dave?
about 420 feet
Between that one up there and this one down
between the
here.
two existing lights.
in the last business that was there was a 7 to 5:30 operation, so there was no need to have that. And now that I work into the night, it would be nice to have that lit up.
That's the problem I have, because that's where it looks more like a security light to me, which I don't know that we've been in the business of doing that.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm not asking for that light to face my corner of my building. There's nothing there. It faces no garage doors, no nothing. I'm talking about lighting the street up. We get trucks that turn around down there, they back up a Ninth, and then they head out. It's just, like I said, when you drive down Jefferson Street, across from Warehouse of Wisconsin, you got bing, 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 all the way down. And they're not within 300 feet, they're staggered, 190, 156, 190, 205. They're all different, there's no standard between light poles in the whole industrial park.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm just asking for like a variance, or that's what my request is, to make an exception and put one on the existing pole to light up the road.
I was just surprised at the price when you said there was a pole there already,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, wasn't
just to put the,
Yeah, it's about a water and light, it's about $800, $810 just for material, and then probably another $400 for labor is what they're estimating.
So 4 guys at $50 an hour.
Then
At
I
least.
don't know how many he
Two
just says
trucks.
labor.
2 trucks, you know.
and we had 3 trucks around our pole the other day. And I don't know how many guys, I wonder how much that cost. And what they were doing there.
Well, that's a one-time issue, $1,200, a one-time deal, they maintain it.
Yeah. And then they pay a monthly.
Right, we pay a monthly fee like we do on all the rest
Yeah,
of the lights.
yeah. Well,
Did you say that block across from that is commercial, Dave?
Oh, it's, it's industrial. It's
It is
zone,
industrial.
yeah, in zone manufacturing or I think it's M3 or 2. I don't have that down here. But when I remember, it goes almost to 10th Avenue.
So there's other industrial,
This could develop
It
as
could.
as the housing gets removed. It's zoned for manufacturing, so it could turn into industrial.
see, that's why I asked if there are other businesses. I mean, if there were, then a number, or they could be, and
mhm.
other people would have it, take advantage of it too. That's what I'm trying.
Well, I moved in there and I've been making significant changes and different things. Who's to say I don't expand and buy the neighbor's house
That's
across the
right.
street, flatten it, put up another
Something else.
building?
That's right. So, and if this area is zone industrial, it'll be comparable to the other industrial park.
Right.
I mean, if we, and so then,
I think that stems back when Consulweld was at its peak. And, because they took that whole thing when that was booming.
Well, as much as I don't agree with it, I'll make a motion that you could have liked it on that pole. More for industrial use than security.
Do you want that in the minutes, for industrial use?
Yeah, it's an industrial area.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the light that is requested on the existing pole on 9th Street. Any further discussion by anybody?
You'll probably have to run wires probably from this pole to that pole. That's probably the expense too that you're gonna add.
According to Water and Light, it was set up. They can do it right away.
Yeah, he didn't have any wire on there, so he should be able to connect in there. It's just the arm and the actual light was
Oh,
the
okay.
expense.
Well, maybe all right. I was just thinking that it's so far away from this one up here that maybe there's no wire running.
Yeah, well, that's my thought. I guess too bad the pole isn't further along,
Yeah.
and kind of break it in half or something.
Yeah,
Uh, I guess I'd make just a comment that that we don't have a policy, or I guess the policy is that it's studied on how much light is gonna be put out, on how the distance between poles, and, you know, maybe that is something that the council should look at and that you have the authority to do it, Dave, in residential areas and that. To grant you that to do an industrial area, or I guess that comes back, we have some guidance, I guess, on number of feet between poles that are there. If this developed further, and that's why it's too bad there's such a distance between
Yeah.
those two.
Those two.
There may be a request to come from the other way, to put in a light. Do you know how much this would light up, Dave, from the?
Well, it's 150 watt. Those probably will go, yeah, it'll just probably, well, it should light up to the corner there. 150 watt on the height that it's mounted. The corner of Ninth, it'll fill in the light between the two existing lights. So there won't be a dark spot in the middle, it'll probably be all one lit.
All the way to Cleveland.
Right.
What would happen if we'd ask them to move that pole up here?
I can guess.
Yeah, it's well, they'd probably want to set a new pole.
That's what I mean, yeah.
They're tied to these houses, so they would set a new pole, and that could be, an additional 800 to, I'm guessing what the new pole would cost.
Mhm.
But,
Is this pole in good condition? It's gonna take and last?
well, it's good enough now, I guess if the area develops, if I remember right, there isn't any curb on Ninth Avenue. So if the area develops industrial, we'd be looking at reconstructing the street, and at that point, we would probably do a lighting plan for that area.
Okay.
Well, at this point in time, we have a motion and a second to approve the request. I'm gonna vote no, and I guess with that, I'd like to see what Water and Light would say to put a different pole in,
Yeah.
what the cost would be.
I can get that by the council meeting.
Yeah, do
And
that.
I guess that was the rest of it, to see what.
But where would you want that pole?
Just up and,
Well, I'm wondering about halfway in between.
yeah,
But it seems to me that if this will illuminate all the way down
Yeah.
here, and this already illuminates here, to move it wouldn't make
Yeah.
any difference.
Yeah,
It-
but it's-
The
it'll-
pole right around the corner of Cleveland, you're not splitting the difference. You'd be moving the pole probably 20 feet, that's it.
Yeah.
So you're not gaining much.
That's,
you would gain about 40 feet, I figured, from this piece of property to the other piece of property. Just see what they say.
Okay, anybody else? Then committee will vote on the motion, and that's to approve the request, to put the light in, Ninth Avenue, between Rosecrans and Cleveland.
are we approving it pending that, or are we approving?
Well, I guess I just said, part of why I'm gonna vote against it, so I think for you to approve it is approving it.
Yeah, then we can bring it up at council too,
Is
if it comes
to
to a
go
different.
in.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah, we can-
Your motion and second is to approve the light.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
I'll vote yes.
Committee will vote, all those in favor of the motion respond by aye.
aye.
Opposed? Aye. So 2-1 vote, and I guess, Dave, if you can get the info from Water and Light.
Yeah.
Right.
and as Chad said, the different, to move it, the distance may not make any difference and,
Yeah, the pole's there, that's the simplest solution, and I just hope that, Rapids always says they wanna work with small businesses, so this is one of those items. You gonna work with me or not, So I hope, things go good on the council floor, and thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go to number 2, Dave. Review and recommend approval of the bids to consider the traffic signal installation at 3rd Street North and East Jackson Street, the traffic actuated installation.
Okay, we advertised like we normally did. I handed out, we had sent invitations to 6 contractors. Because we use the computerized system now, they take their plans out through Quest. It's got some initials on it. Banner took out plans and Merkel took out plans. We received only one bid from Van Eert, 719 Stewart Avenue, Wausau, Wisconsin, and I guess we're seeing we only had one bid. I don't have to worry about all the documents with one bid, but, so their bid is in the amount of $53,734.
You have an extra pencil, something.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Sorry about that. What was it again?
$53,734. And our estimate was around 60, so. And we worked with Van Eert. In fact, our last project, last year, they were the only bidder, and they did a very good job, and they work for Water and Light regularly, so I would recommend approval of the bid.
Also move.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and second to approve the bid from Van Eert Electric out of Wausau to approve the converting the traffic signal installation at 3rd Street North and East Jackson Street to traffic actuated signals. Dave, this is the corner where, and we'll vote in a second, this is the corner where we wanted to go to a 4-way stop.
Right, when we
Yeah.
found out we didn't have
And there
adequate.
was, then it came about that the view, that
Right.
traffic couldn't see far enough, so we went back to the lights, and now we're looking at this. So.
Right, and then I had come back additionally too, because Water and Light says semis get caught in there and they keep knocking down the poles, so we're gonna put up a large, I don't know if you get to cities that are putting in new traffic signals now, then the new standard is a large pole with the lights vertical over each lane. So we're gonna eliminate 2 poles and put this large pole in its place. That's the new standard, and the trucks they're gonna have to really work at hitting it now, because it'll be out of there.
Somebody will.
I'm not saying they never will, but.
I didn't realize that poles are being knocked down.
Yeah.
That many there, I don't know how many it is, but,
Yeah.
that, I didn't realize there was that much truck traffic, maybe making turns there.
Right, I think it's out-of-town truckers looking for RCH or DuPage, and they get around the courthouse and knock our signals down.
Okay.
I didn't realize the cost of that. When you have,
That's a lot.
where we have it other places in the city, did it cost us that much too? We just put that, like on the Expressway and High Street,
Oh,
that puck that you put in there?
right, the pucks, let me see what the system is called. Because we're doing there's no loops in there at all.
Oh,
See, the other ones, we were replacing loops.
okay.
The pucks are bid out at $25,500 because we have to do a whole intersection. In the past, we've had bad loops, and usually we do the side street and maybe a left turn lane
yeah.
and that was running about 18,000.
That's what I thought, yeah.
So,
That was just surprised, but there's a lot of other things you have to do to fix this intersection.
All right, anything else, committee? Without any, we'll vote on the motion to approve this. All in favor, respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, 0. Number 5, review the proposed 2013 public works schedule.
Right now, street department is at 9th and Peach, and finishing up utility work at the intersection. Storm sewer, sanitary sewer, water main, they should be finished by the end of this week or early next week. So sometime the week of August 12th, they will move to First Street and start installing water main and sanitary sewer from Apricot to Baker Street. That should take approximately a month, at which time the DOT's contractor, once that project is bid out, will come in and finish with the storm sewer and the road work after our crews are done working there. Middle September, we will switch over to Pepper Avenue from Sampson to First Street, and that'll take approximately a month. Mid-October, street department should be done with that, and we'll have our concrete and asphalt work on Pepper Avenue, extending sometime into November. Middle of November is what we show on the schedule, depending on how busy American or our asphalt contractor is. Might have to be a little bit earlier depending on how busy they are, but that's what we show on the schedule.
So, just a couple updates. Washington Street sidewalk, and 28th Street won't be installed until next year. We're in what I just got through with on First Street. We're in the environmental review. It doesn't matter if you're putting in a sidewalk or reconstructing a whole street. We're right in the middle of the environmental review, and then we need to acquire the right of way for the sidewalk. So, talking to DOT, they had told me in July that there's no way I'm going to make it. And after going through First Street, I know I'm not going to make it. They promised me June, and it was, we started getting right of way almost a year later before the environmental was done. So it's amazing.
When I saw this, and I was gonna ask about it, that's, I guess, surprised me. What about the other two, Dave?
The
Sidewalk, and same thing, it has
yeah,
moved.
all those moved to 2014. They're all funded by the Safe Routes to Schools. And being federally funded, they don't care if it's a huge project or a small project. You have to go through historical, archaeological.
So it's the same thing as
Right.
Washington.
They're all bundled
That's what I
in
wanted to make
one project.
get that out, make it clear if it was, okay. Right, any more, or for right now?
What's happening by the post office?
Oh, that's a water main break. It's an old, what I was told, there's an old lead lead into the post office, and it started bubbling up, and they're taking care of it, but I guess it busted into the sanitary sewer a little bit, so we're planning on patching it back with concrete again, because the earliest we would, at the present funding we're looking for, this STP urban funding, we don't think we'll be able to get construction going before 2017. So we're just gonna patch it back up again. It's not that big of a patch, but concrete will last a lot better for the next, because everything else in there is concrete,
There's a lot of traffic.
right, by the post office.
Would those sidewalks, switch gears again, I guess. The sidewalks that are gonna be moved to 2014, hopefully get done, I guess. Would they, and I guess it would be decided yet on what priority projects would have next year. Would there be a chance, if this was approved, that this could be done, I guess, early, obviously, winter has to go away and the frosts go away and that type of stuff, would this?
Yeah, that would be the plan, to bid it out as soon as we can. Being the federal rules, I've gotta get through the environmental, although it's a local bid, they don't like you to bid without all the right-of-way in hand. They wouldn't let us on First Street. So we should get all the right-of-way in hand, and then we'll try to bid it out first thing, as soon as we can. We can bid it out in winter and just have them start.
Right.
And the frost usually goes out the ground by the end of April. We don't like to get them in sooner because the nights freeze, and that's not good for the sidewalk, for the concrete.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess as soon as we get, know that it could be a goal, that schedule a,
Is it a project taking its place? I mean, let's say if this is 2014, is there something taking its place for the remainder of this year that we were going to be doing next year? I would just.
No, well, this is all contract work, so
Oh,
it
doesn't.
doesn't impact our crews at all.
Okay,
It impacts us in engineering, but that, it's ongoing for us.
yeah.
Yeah, and there isn't any, and they won't allow it in this grant. We call it force account, they don't allow
good
cities.
question, good question.
Yeah, we have to buy all our steel for the bike racks from the USA. We have to do Davis-Bacon wage rates, and we have to have a certain percentage as disabled minority business contractors.
oh, that's interesting.
So there's always a lot of strings with the
Yeah, it
federal
is.
government.
Any questions on the schedule as we move along here? Already August, so wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't believe it. And you're gonna start that First Street, right?
As soon as they finish ninth, they're gonna be over there next week.
And Dave, I don't know what I did with your sheet, it's probably in here. Item 6 for the referral list.
Oh, I got a
I
referral.
think there was a couple on there, but it's probably my pile of papers as I was moving
Here,
around.
I got it for them. Yeah, these,
Yeah, there were two, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The first one is for a request, about the speed limit on 16th be lowered to 25 between 2 Mile and Coon Avenue.
Right.
In an area where there's no sidewalk because many residents have to back out of their driveways in Rosewood Estates.
We need to do a speed study on it, and we just haven't, it's construction season, we'll be getting to it soon, and then we need to work with Grand Rapids, because it's a borderline street.
That's right, yep, okay.
So there's, why I want to get the speed study done and then contact Grand Rapids with our results.
Okay.
And we had met with Paul Gross, and he told us to hold off, and we haven't heard anything since for the next item.
Well, let's hold on to this, I guess, in a couple of months, if we don't hear or try to contact them to see if he
Yeah.
wants to proceed with this, so. And that's the only two
That's good.
referrals that we have at this time, so I guess with that committee, if there's no other question, before we do, I'd like to thank River City's Community Access for taping this and showing part of this live this evening, and the program will be running in its entirety over the next couple of weeks a few times. For people at home, check the schedule and you can see the whole Public Works meeting sometime during the next 2 weeks. So with that committee, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
Second, and so we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Committee, all those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. We're adjourned at 6:14.